tell me about yourself.
Well, first I'd like to take this opportunity for taking your time for interviewing me. My name is Aminata Bangura, and I'm currently a student at Minneapolis Business College, which I'm studying to be a computer specialist. While attending MBC, I took classes like web development, PC hardware, and networking. In web development, I learned how to do PHP, JavaScript, and HTML. In PC hardware, I learned how to take apart a computer from the monitor and learning every aspect in the monitor. In networking, I learned the different networking that goes around from public to private in everybody's computer. Also, while attending MBC, I worked 25 to 35 hours a week at Forever 21 as a sales associate. While working there, I learned teamwork, patience, and customer skills. Through those job experience, I learned a good communication skills and technical skills. In those jobs, I learned how to always put the customer first, no matter right or wrong. My future goal is to work at a hospital as an IT support specialist. I have good communication skills. I could juggle multiple tasks, and also I have a positive attitude. While
It's okay. Come on.
Keep going.
my future goal also is to continue my education and get a bachelor's in computer engineering and pursue my career into bigger, better goals. I also want to work in a company that's in downtown Minneapolis. That's my big goal.
Are you going to a company that's in downtown Minneapolis?
I'm currently looking at it, yes.
No, I mean for your mock interview.
My mock interview is at St. Louis Park.
All right, so nowhere near downtown Minneapolis?
No.
So you're gonna irritate them. You're gonna insult them, basically, right? Because you're going to St. Louis Park, but you want to be in downtown Minneapolis. So if I hire you, as soon as you get a job in downtown Minneapolis, you're gonna go, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you don't want to tell them that.
Don't want to tell them that, right? You always want to focus in that. And you said something earlier just before that about going back to school for computer engineering and to go on for bigger and better things. So we're not bigger or better enough for you.
Well, to continue my education.
That's okay. You can continue education, but to go on to bigger and better things suggests that we are not bigger or better. Do you see where that's going?
The company that you're interviewing with isn't big enough for you. That's what you're
And
suggesting.
I'm pulling these out because these are the things that just sort of raised my hackles in a way. The stuff is there, but it's really disorganized. Would you agree, Ms. Hudlow?
Yes, it's somewhat disorganized, and there wasn't a story there. There wasn't.
No.
What I was waiting for was a story. Why did you want to be in computers?
Well, why do you
even
want
if you want to go into computer engineering, why did you get computers?
Where does that come from?
I wrote down. I forgot about it.
You just forgot it? Okay. So tell me, where does it come from?
In high school, I took web development and PC hardware, not knowing that I was going to like the class, but at the end of the trimester, I was like, oh.
Well, why did you take them to begin with?
Why? Well, it was the only class that was open, and my mom basically forced me to take it. You never know, you might be good in it.
So you completely tripped and fell into this, basically.
Yeah.
You got to know that. People got to know that because this was one of those things where. Do you often listen to your mom?
If it's true, yeah.
Okay, so you trusted your mom, right?
Yeah.
And you took these classes. They were the only ones open. You honestly, and you can say this, I honestly took them because I had to take them for credit.
No, it wasn't for credit. It was just like.
You had elective credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you had to, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't.
Had to have electives.
You had to have an elective, so nothing else is open. What did you want to get into?
I was actually trying to go for biomedical.
All right, so you wanted to take the biomedical elective, but it was closed, and the only thing that was open was what class?
Computers, web development.
web development class, and you begrudgingly took it. Your mom said you take it, you never know. You hated the idea, but you took it, and it was, oh, the angels sang, right? And you liked it. My God, that's a great story. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it not?
It is. It is.
It is. It's an awesome story.
It's different from most people's.
Yeah,
we're
because most
playing
people.
games at 5 years old, trying to.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, you had a completely different path through life. You were given this opportunity, or you were forced in this opportunity. You had to do it. There was no other way to go. So you took it, and you weren't happy about it, but it still turned you. Does that make sense? It still changed you. One of my favorite books, The Great Gatsby. I was assigned to that over Thanksgiving break. I hated the idea that I had to read a book over Thanksgiving break. But the moment that I started reading, I couldn't put it down. And it's my favorite book, and I read it every year. Actually, I haven't read it but I read it for every year for like 10 years because I loved that book. But I was forced to do it, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I wasn't forced. And it's the same thing with you. And people need to know that because we're all dorks in our own way. We're just talking to Cody about this, right? You're a computer dork. Misael's a computer dork. I'm a word dork, right? Computer dorks talk to computer dorks, right? Word dorks talk to word dorks, and you understand each other, and they need to know what level of dorkiness you're on in order to make that connection, because then everything else that you've decided from that point makes sense, right? Because then you take another class, right? And then you go to college to learn it, right? And then you're doing all these things here. And then you can talk about your transferable skills, which I think you did a good job on it. They were just sort of all over the place. And then you talk about your future, but you temper your future so that it's focused towards the job that you're sitting here for. And for general future, you can say that I want to get more education, but for right now, I want to start this really cool career that I tripped and fell into, so to speak. What else would you like to add?
Sorry, you said what else would you like?
I like to add, yeah, I'm sorry.
Like to add, that's okay.
I put you on the spot.
I would not probably wear red and black nail polish.
I would agree with that.
I would go with something a little more conservative.
And maybe a
It
closed
pink. I
heel
think red's
shoe.
okay. I guess
One or the
I'm
other.
okay with the red, but not the red and the black together.
I would agree with that. Maybe one or the other. Although the black tends to look more gothic-y, and I would be.
Right.
So.
So I'd be careful of that in the interview.
You're probably better off going something plain, like just clear for now, and then once you get the job, go and get your nails done and have something really cool done. The hair. I love the hair because it's 80s. But I don't know.
It was only bothering me in that when I was looking at you and looking through your hair to your eyes, because it's right in front of your eyes, right there.
And
It's supposed to be like this since I was nervous.
You pull on.
Yeah.
But it's actually, the
And
thing
now I can
is,
see your eyes, and I like that. You have very nice eyes.
you're going to evoke good images of 80s fashion from people my age, but I don't know if somebody older.
It must be coming in.
It's been sort of. It's been sort of. For the last 5 years, it's been sort of seeping into the. You can see it again, but it's also short. You got to wear long sleeves. That's very 80s too. I think the puffy. I think 80s was so casual. It was so casual. That's what it was about. It was about you were either a suit, right, Gordon Gekko, or you were the casual clubbing person, and that's the image that I have right now is casual club, and literally you're right out of the 80s dance floor video, yeah. And I don't mean that it's not an insult. It's actually it's a nice image, but I don't know how people are going to interpret it professionally, if that makes sense. So.
Conservative would be better only because you won't invoke those images of.
Yeah, and that's
the
why.
80s movies we're thinking of and high school dances.
God, what are you reminding me of right now? Oh, it's bothering me. Grace Slick. No, not Grace Slick. Grace Jones. Grace Jones, the model.
Okay. Yep.
Right. She wore her hair that way.
Yes, she did.
And she had the puffy shoulder patty stuff. So
web search.
Yeah.
See what he means.
Not Grace Jones.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Anything else? That was a handshake?
Handshake was all right.
All right. All right. I think that's it. You're free to go. Okay.
You're welcome.
I just take this, correct?
Yep. That's good stuff.
Thank you. You going today?
No, I just had to talk to Mr. Stewart.
Oh, well, no one else is there.
Is Mr. Stewart there though?
Yeah, Stewart's and Miss Hudlow are in there. Just knock and go in.